Time to evaluate the BYU game. It was very similar to the Florida game as far as being kind of a tale of two halves. And first half, really just poor execution offensively. I felt like our first two offensive series was the worst two of the game. And if we could have been able to move the ball there and get points, it could have been a different situation. And then defensively, we had multiple opportunities there in the first half. We had 4th and goal at the 1, 2 different times on 2 different series, and we had 3 chances. 2 on one of them, we missed 2 tackles in the backfield on one of them, and then we missed 1 tackle on the other one. If we make any of those tackles, could have been a different situation, and then obviously the 2 deep balls that we gave up did not help the situation. So I was disappointing, but as the clock struck midnight, we went out there for the second half. And really proud of how the guys played. Ultimately, we got what we said at halftime. We said, hey, we're going to get the ball. We want to go down and score, and make it a 2-score game, and play our best ball. I think we had 3 offensive series in the second half and got 3 touchdowns. And then they had 3 offensive series, and we held them to 1 touchdown. No points in the last 20 minutes. So, I'm obviously disappointed that we didn't do enough to win the game. We got to ultimately, when you're playing teams that talented, you can't play 2 quarters. You got to execute for 4 quarters. But really proud of the effort, resilience of the guys in the second half on the road. That was a tough environment. I told their coach after the game, I've been in just about every ACC, SEC stadium, and there's nowhere I've been was louder than that place. And maybe just how the stadium was formed and in the mountains, and their students were in the stands 2.5 hours before the game. They had a concert out there going with the students for 2 hours before the game. It was the most electric environment I've been in, and just really thinking about that very last drive offensively down there at the goal line, 4th and goal at the 1. I mean, with your freshman quarterback and a long day, and to see our guys be able to finish, those are some positives we can take out of it. Really proud of Timmy McClain in his first start on the road. We knew it was going to be a loud environment, and we changed our snap count early in the week after seeing the difficulty that the previous 2 opponents had at their place, and to be able to have no pre-snap penalties and be really clean in our communication, I thought was really good. I thought he managed the game really well. There was probably only 2 or 3 decisions that he made that I felt like were poor decisions, so he's improved that. He threw for over 70%, which is the first time all year that we've thrown for over 70% against a good team. And then obviously everybody could see his legs just extend drives and extend plays. And technically they counted 1 sack because he ran out of bounds a yard short of the line of scrimmage on 1 play. But really, the offensive line didn't give up any sacks, and they did a good job. But also him with his legs extending plays, and we're really kind of working on the scramble drill because those are some big opportunities that we have there. Also pleased with the offensive line. We kind of knew that we were going to put it kind of on their backs there, and them and the running backs did a good job. I think being able to run the ball on 1st and 2nd down, it gets us in 3rd and medium, 3rd and short, 3rd and manageable situations. And we've been able to show to execute there. It's one thing to run the ball, when you want to. It's another thing to run the ball when you need to, and they know you're going to run it, and to be able to go get it. I can't really remember another situation where we've been able to kind of impose our will a little bit on the running game there, a lot of those short yardage situations. Proud of Jaron Mangum, continues to do well for us. It's a physical game, physical back. Brian was telling me, I believe he's the first University of South Florida running back to have 2 or more touchdowns in 3 consecutive games rushing. And I think he's 5th in the country, 1st in our conference with 7 rushing touchdowns. So there are some positives in that. Really proud of the blocked field goal that we had. If we would have been able to get the ball back and go down and score, it could have been the difference in allowing us to get to overtime and have a chance to win the game. But really proud of that. Now we returned from our non-conference to conference play, and we got one of the best teams in the country. SMU's 4-0. They had a big win at TCU last week, had 600 yards of offense against a good TCU defense. They've got the number 5 offense in the country, 550 yards a game, 43 points a game. Their quarterback, Mordecai, has 20 passing touchdowns, which is number 1 in the country. I think the #2 quarterback in the country has 15 touchdowns. That tells you how impressive that is, and especially some of the teams that they've played there, with TCU being the last one. Defensively, they're only giving up about 23 points a game. They're top 20 in the country in red zone defense. They've created 8 turnovers on defense. They're very aggressive. They're very deep. That's one thing I would say is kind of studying their roster offensively and defensively. I think they're going to be a good case study for us, because maybe where they were 5 years ago is probably similar to where we are right now from a depth standpoint. And you know, they've done an excellent job. Coach Dykes has done an excellent job, he and his staff, over the last 4 and 5 years. And you know, just looking at their depth chart, it's just amazing how many guys they have at each position. And so they've definitely earned what they've done this year. So you know, for us, it's just yet another challenge going on the road. And you know, the big thing I told our guys is we just have to stay, you know, focused on the inside out and not worry about anything on the outside. Really, we just got to be focused on improving ourselves. And I think as a head coach, when you look back at the first 4 games, kind of leaving non-conference, going to conference, the question that you ask yourself is, are we getting better, or are we staying the same, or are we getting worse? And we're definitely not where we want to be, but I am pleased that I feel like we are getting better after playing a very difficult non-conference. I think Brian told me we're the only team in the country that's played 3 teams that are currently ranked in the top 25. So it is what it is. And like I told our guys after the game, hey, iron sharpens iron. And you play good competition, and you have adversity, 1 or 2 things happen. Either you come together and you get better, or you divide. And I haven't seen 1 ounce of this team quit. I haven't seen 1 ounce of this team start blaming. I've seen offensive guys in the defensive huddle. I've seen defensive guys in the offensive huddle. So even though we're not getting the results that we need and that we want, there are some positive signs in that. And if we'll stay focused on improving and trust the process, then we'll get there. With the 4 non-conference games being over, getting ready to go into conference play, we voted on permanent captains for the season. I'll let the players vote on that. So each player voted on Monday, and we had 4 captains. Offensive captains are Brad Cecil and Demetrius Harris. Defensive captains, Micah Lapointe and Dwayne Boyles. And those guys have really done a good job. And I know they'll do a great job leading us forward. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Yeah, you mentioned Timmy. He showed years beyond his maturity in that second half. Things went too fast for him. He clearly was in control and took what was given to him.
Yeah, I mean, again, he didn't play a perfect game by any stretch, but I think he was 17 of 24, and I think we counted a couple throwaways, and then we threw 1 ball down low. They probably should have ran there in the red zone. He tried to throw it to Mitchell Brinkman. He had a really nice pass to Weaver. The DB made a good play on in the end zone, but I think he really missed 2 throws the entire night. And you know, and also the location. I think that's a big thing, being a former wide receiver, guys. The location on the balls. If you go back and watch the games, I mean, they're like right there, and even dropping it right over the guys. So, I mean, that was you don't really have full respect for that unless you were there, unless you've been to a game at BYU. That was a very intense. I mean, sitting in the locker room for an hour and a half, my dad and I are like, man, I've never heard anything like this before. This is absolutely incredible. And to be able to go out there as a true freshman and be able to manage the game the way he did, a lot of 3rd downs, a lot of 4th downs, obviously. The biggest disappointment was the 4th and 1 quarterback sneak. He fumbled the ball. That was a critical error. But yeah, I mean, I've said before, Timmy, he's got a maturity to him for a young player. You know, I know I'm hoping he's going to have a long, successful career. And I think we're always going to look back at that first road game he had at BYU and the way he was able to move our team down. And again, second half, be able to lead us down on 3 long, 2 of them really long touchdown drives. So I think that's something that is giving him confidence. And I think he was fourth on the offense in votes for captain. Right there's a true freshman after his first start. So I think that says a lot about what his teammates think about him too.
So he's the guy now? No question.
He's the guy now. Yes, sir. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're hoping, right? What we've kind of talked about from the very beginning, kind of get through conference play, letting, you know, 3 of the guys got some good reps, and really let it kind of happen on its own. And really, I haven't even had to say anything to the team. That's the best part about it. It wasn't like I went in on Monday and said, all right, let's congratulate Timmy being the start quarterback. They know it because of what they saw out there, and that's really how you want it to happen. And it doesn't mean he has a lifetime contract. If he goes out and plays poorly, it doesn't mean that we got other guys that we feel good about too that can play. But our plan is for him to be our starting quarterback moving forward for the rest of the season.
Those long drives would come in handy against SMU.
What's that?
Those long drives would come in handy against SMU,
Yeah.
getting the ball out of Mordecai's hands.
Yeah, we talked about maybe catching the kickoff and taking a knee at the 1. And then if we could run 30 plays, I kind of averaged it out, 30 plays with a 3-yard gain average, I think we could get a quarter and a half in each drive. But we got to score a touchdown and then hold them, do the same thing. So, yeah, I mean, each year you kind of look at your team. We have some talent on the defensive side. We just don't have a lot of depth, and it kind of shows up. And it's not just kind of that game. It's not like they just all start fresh. It's when you don't have much depth, then those guys are practicing more during the week. They're being strained more during the week, and you got to get in the reps. And then they get out there, and it just kind of is what it is. Some years I've had it where I've been on teams where the defense is a lot further ahead depth-wise and everything than the offense, and you kind of do some things defensively to protect your offense a little bit. And right now, the best defense against SMU's offense is definitely to be able to be smart with the ball and put drives together. It's not an offense that you want to go 3 out and keep putting your defense out there in bad situations. So there's no doubt. I mean, we're just kind of joking about that. We're working to score every time we get the ball, but it also kind of fits who we are offensively right now. We kind of went into the season honestly thinking we were going to be able to throw the ball all over the place, and then we kind of got into the season and kind of working through some things, and the running game has really taken off. And so I think kind of our identity of where we are right now in the season really matches probably what we need for our defense, and so we're going to go with that and continue to build off of that.
What does the lack of depth on defense say? Is it a combination of injuries, youth? Is it something that's just kind of cropped up?
Yeah, I think, without getting too far in details, when you come in your first year in a program, you set a culture, and then if certain guys, maybe that's not a good fit for them, then they kind of exit. And so when you make those decisions, some of the decisions we made last year, those decisions weren't made for the best interest of this season. They were made for the best interest of this program moving forward and setting our culture. So if you kind of go back, we're missing some guys because of that last year, and then injuries. It's just kind of, hopefully we can get over it, but there's been 4 or 5 guys there in that back end that we've missed. And we talked about, I think, at the beginning of the year, we thought that was going to be a strength for us with Will Jones and Christian Williams and some of those guys added in. But, it is what it is. You just got to keep moving forward, and you can't slow down or complain. You just got to make the best decisions you can and move forward. But ultimately, unfortunately, college football is not like the NFL. For in the NFL, we could go to free agency and bring somebody in here and be ready to go by Saturday. But here you got to do the best you can. And then ultimately, I think for us, being able to build depth in the off season through recruiting, and it sounds like there's a chance that this extended cap is going to pass where you get 7 additional to your 25. So we may be in a position where we can bring 32 new players in next year. But those are things that you can't do until after the season. But our goal is definitely to have more depth than where we are right now.
And speaking to some of your offensive adjustments, Charlie Weiss Jr. obviously wanted to play fast, he wanted to play quick, he wanted to play with tempo.
Yeah.
Just how much has he adjusted, and how cool has it been to see him, his adaptability there?
I think Charlie's done a really good job. I think he really studied us, and we still have a long way to go offensively. We're not anywhere close to where we want to be, but I just think the creativity, when you go into a game and maybe there's some matchups that might not be in your favor, then you have to be creative a little bit, and just seeing some of the things we did with some of the tight bunch sets and some different little wrinkles. Their coach gave us a pretty good compliment after the game just about our offensive game plan and some things. So I think Charlie and that staff have done a good job of doing that. And again, you're doing that with a freshman quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of new plays that we haven't ran earlier this year that we ran out there on that scene. But all of our coaches understand, as we're kind of going through it, what's best for our team and what we do. And there are certain times that we do go fast, and it can be kind of a change up for you, and you find times. But there's also time for being able to run the ball and wear the defense down a little bit. I felt like we were able to do that a little bit in the second half, and that was wear their defense down. That was in our favor.
Coach, everybody talks about the quarterback, but it's not like they can't run the ball. What do you think about Bentley in that part of their game?
Yeah, yeah, I got two guys. I was in the hotel Saturday and was watching a little bit of their game, and they had like 2 quick touchdowns. I turned the channel, started watching something else. I didn't want to get distracted for the BYU game. But yeah, they've got outstanding team speed. I mean, but they got a 1-2 punch that running back. They made TCU look like they were standing still in several of those runs. So they've recruited extremely well, and I think they're running for 220 a game and throwing for 330 a game. So I mean, you talk about like the ultimate balance for your offense. They do a really good job and definitely present some problems. Big thing for us, is the missed tackles. That's something that continues to be a problem. And we started tackling live for the first time against some of our scout team guys this week in practice. You usually don't like doing that because your depth and all that, but we felt like we just have to really improve our technique on tackling, and so we had a good day tackling.
How concerned are you about your secondary going with the injuries and stuff you got?
Yeah.
Against a team like this?
Yeah, very concerned. It's not a good week to be short in the secondary. So we have to, as coaches, we have to try to find ways to put our guys in the best position possible. Obviously, the running game presents problems with that. But yeah, there's no doubt that's definitely a concern. It's a red blinking light right now.
Who do you see as more balanced, SMU or BYU? Or if they're about
We've
the
already
same?
played BYU, right? Okay. Well, I would just say this. SMU's ranked 5 in total offense. And I don't think it's just because they played 4 games the way they're playing right now. By the end of the year, they're probably going to be somewhere around that if they stay. So, it's hard to compare different schools and all that stuff, and we haven't played them yet. But what I see on film, they look like the most electric all-around wideouts, running back, quarterback. They look the most dangerous at all those positions of who we've played so far. I think BYU's back is really big and strong, kind of a different. And you got to give that backup quarterback for BYU credit, man. I mean, he made some beautiful throws, and that was one of the most well-executed offenses that I've seen play in a long time.
When you look at the history of this program, there's been a lot of great splash wins, and you've played some big splash teams so far. Now you start the conference, and that's one thing this program hasn't done, is win a conference title. So what's your orientation toward conference play and the importance of these games coming up and being good in your conference moving forward?
Yeah, that's really important. I mean, I think you can look at our non-conference schedule for the next 5 years, pretty aggressive. But for where we are right now, we need to show improvement in our conference, right? You got to, like Bobby Bowden used to say back in the day, first of all, you early on, you lose big, then you lose close, then you win close, and then you win big. I mean, that's kind of the, maturation of your program, how it usually happens. And hopefully got past those first 2 stages and we can get over the hump and get to those last 2 stages. But yeah, there's no doubt conference play, every game's important. We treat every game the exact same, but I think for our guys to know that we're turning the page and we're going into conference play, and hey, it's a new season. We're 0-0. Our goal is to go 1-0 this week. And ultimately, one of our big goals is to win the conference. And at some point we will, whether that's this year or in the future. I'm confident that we will, but that's the step we have to get to before we worry about anything past that.
This is a team